Yako ne president of the Teacher Trainee Association Ghana, Ora Razak Swali, akwa kodin komo edi afa allowance no. Good morning, Obeni.
Yes, good morning.
Na what to say?
Yeah, me hoye.
Utubika chino na. Will it be comfortable?
Let's go with English.
Okay, all right. All right. Now, there's this confusion as to what the minister has come out with the in relations with the teacher trainee allowance. Possibly you were there when the minister met you. What actually transpired when the minister met you and discussed with you on the teacher trainee allowance? What actually transpired when the two of you met?
Oh, good morning again, and good morning to your loving followers. For a fact, we were not at the meeting. It was a meeting before between our principals and then the honorable minister. By then, we were having our tag week celebration at the double.
Okay, so you are the president of the Teacher Trainee Association.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Okay,
exactly.
okay, all right,
exactly.
right.
So,
right.
So to us as students, we have long been looking forward to an improvement in our allowances and then the maintenance of the teacher training allowances than an enhanced loan scheme, even though we know every government would have the best interest of their citizens at heart and more so teacher trainees in the country. So the enhanced loan scheme, we are still looking for looking to maybe there are some aspects of it that are still not known to us as students. But as it stands now, we as students would go for teacher training allowances and for maintenance and improvement.
Well, what can I say? Some country they are betting me at your senate about Brofanamba.
Yes, sure.
Okay. What can I say? No. Mo chese mo de mani gisenka allowance no be hot nsem benya enhanced student loan scheme no. Cheme adentina money allowance no chen loan scheme na loans no.
Yes, the idea behind the allowance is to serve as a buffer to students in the colleges of education. It equally motivates other people to pursue teacher education. You will hear so many comments that have always demotivated people for pursuing teacher education in the country. So if you consider this brain behind the reintroduction of the allowances in 2017, and you compare it to the reasons for why enhanced loan scheme is about to be introduced or has been existing. These are quite two different ideas, different one, of course, because the enhanced loan scheme is to help students to pay their academic fees, including school fees. So allowances are not meant to be paid to be used to pay school fees. So what you should be looking at is improving the allowance so that this will translate into better feeding conditions in the colleges. The food in the colleges is not something that is very about, and this all comes from the allowances. If you're taking it off, then the feeding will become a problem again in the colleges. So these are some of the views behind us supporting the allowance scheme instead of the student loan.
Well, a bit argue say more you say you upgrade more, you more call the level of the universities more degree awarding and current. So if that is the case, there, Yemfamon to set the university for now. Why then do you advocate say more the allowance nema no enkaho?
Yes, this constant argument. One thing you and I need to agree with ourselves is that the colleges of education, even though have been upgraded to the tertiary status, we still don't have the needed infrastructure in place to call ourselves as such. Because over the years, you would come to learn that successive governments have paid constant attention to traditional universities, the universities in the country and the senior high schools, leaving teacher education in a balance. So for us to be able to transition this very well and then consider the fact that trainees in the colleges of education are tertiary students, and for that matter, they should be allowed to feed themselves and not being fed, then all of these problems should be looked at before we can be having that conversation. But for now, what would help the colleges very much is the payment of the allowances.
Right. Enti Mamusa said now Aban say, why don't you then fight to be at the level of the university, but rather you maintain baby amona?
It is not that we want to maintain where we are. We have long started this advocacy with our principals and our teachers too as well. You would have come to learn sadly that CTAC has constantly been going on strike. These are some of the things because even to upgrade them to, even though the College of Education has been upgraded to a tertiary status, our tutors were still regarded as teacher training colleges, and they have been pushing this fight. And going on a lot of strike. We have started this engagement equally with our principals to attract more development into the college space, but that has not yielded any positive results for the past years. About 3 years ago, when the colleges were teacher training colleges were upgraded to colleges of education. So these are some of the concerns we have been pushing long before. So if these things had been put in place, I think you and I will not be having this conversation as to students feeding themselves in the colleges.
All right. Once again, Mr. Musa said the allowance now acquire some kind of incentive, a better draw man for to the universities, to the colleges,
Teacher education,
teacher education. Is it Juma? Are people still enticed to go to the colleges of education because of the allowances?
Yes, people still go, and you look at the numbers so far that are coming out from the colleges, looking at the need of the country for teachers. We need, professional teachers. So if you look at the ratio, there's still a gap, and then there are still people who go into teacher education because of these incentives that have been put in place in the college space. But that is just one aspect of it, because the teacher training allowances is also to help students to be able to acquire their essential academic items and other and their handouts and then what have you. So these things still motivate people to go, but for it to better serve its purpose and motivate more people, then we should be looking at a way of enhancing it.
So allowance kruya yete ho nsem bebre ene yebete na musu ena ban entria ena akam ene nkroneba. With all these ups and downs and what have you know, enya appropriate say yebe ye free home na yahwe alternative like the enhanced loans betimi aboamo.
Yes, I agree with you on that point, but one cannot gladly assure that when the enhanced loan schemes are also being introduced, they are not also going to be delayed in disbursement. The allowances that are supposed to be paid every month, it is for a fact that sometimes it delays more than a month. But nonetheless, the payment of the allowance is still in session, the disbursement is still ongoing. Some arrears are left to be paid, but some too have been paid and some are still being paid. Just last week, some 1 hour payment, some 1 month payment was done to teacher trainees from the arrears that were being owed. So these are the conversations. So we cannot completely assure that when the enhanced loan scheme are being introduced in the colleges, students are going to get a swift disbursement of the allowances. That's still uncertain. So for now, let's stay with the allowances and help government to be able to increase the consistency or the frequency for which government disburses these allowances to be able to serve its purpose.
So far, send akam allowances and send akam
currently we are owed in arrears of 3 months.
Okay.
For the yes, 3 months. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right. Once again, Mamusa say, Mote say, and the Minister of Education, Eba Bontia, Ebe Tobia say, Yebe ye free honor the enhanced students loan abano. More as students sing and amofano.
Please pardon me. Can you take it?
All right. I'm saying that when he heard the news that the Minister of Education has said that he's going to do away with the allowances and then introduce the enhanced student loan, how did you take it?
Yeah, it was a very there was a big reaction to us as students, because this is the least we expect. We are looking forward to the allowance being maintained and not being cancelled. So undoubtedly receiving the news that the allowances are on the verge of being cancelled, even though the minister was only hinting and not the truth. It didn't go down well with us as well. But we're hoping that the ministry will listen to the concerns of us as students and then put into consideration some of the challenges we face in the colleges.
Right. Mr. Musa said, the statement here, there's the likelihood that you be every honum. Ye free honum, what would be the steps you would take?
Yes, when the allowances are being removed or being cancelled, the best thing we can do is to look for better alternatives in order to help students in the colleges of education.
In this case, which one would be a better one for you? In this case, what would be the better alternative for you?
Well, the alternatives are still being discussed, and you know very well there is an education conference coming up, so there are definitely going to be recommendations that are going to be made, and then more so we are going to be there to make sure our voice are also being heard, and then we equally suggest some alternatives to ensure that the trainees in the colleges of education are not disadvantaged.
So, so far, how much are you paid per month?
Yes, we are paid for 400 Ghana cedis a month.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, what can I say? 400. What one listed your good honum, mo feeding, mo books, mo research work. Is it enough?
Undeniably, it's not enough. It's not enough because that's why I said the feeding is actually very bad. The quality, the quantity is very bad. It's an eyesore.
But you are lucky that your fellows at the other universities are not being fed at all. But you have something at least to rely on.
Yes, exactly. So if we had the needed facilities to be able to feed ourselves, we would have opted for that gladly. But where we are right now, we don't have that in place. So the least that can be done is for feeding to continue.
So you think that Ojun says allowance no one, apart from research work, more books, it will help you with your feeding, not so?
Yes, the feeding is something that is helping students, I must say. And like I said, the quality has completely deteriorated. Even the quantity has equally reduced drastically. But like I said, one thing we can do, or one thing the ministry can do, is to enhance these allowances so that the purpose can be met at best.
Instead of enhancing the allowances, will you also advocate, say, any young feeding, improve more feeding? Will you advocate for that?
Yeah, sure. We have long been calling for this too as well.
So instead of the allowance, it should be into the feeding. Is it okay?
Well, if we have an enhanced feeding and the allowances, you don't have allowances or you have a little allowances, it's something that is good because I mean the allowances that comes to you, definitely some part of it will go into getting you something to sustain life in the college. So if you're able to get the right proportions in your meals, it's a good thing for us.
Right, Razak Swali, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Right. Razak Swali, Onoe, President of Teacher Trainees Association Ghana, and Yanino Ekodi and Komo.